So we're in record. Beautiful. All right. Well, we're a bit like got matchsticks in our eyes, I think, at the moment. So do apologise, guys, because we've literally hopped off the plane at about 1 p.m. today after a full-on 17 hours straight flight. So it's a bit full on. And yeah, Val's in exactly the same way. So hopefully we're not going to kind of blur into things too much, but we'll just kind of go through what we took away from the Barcelona trip and the inspiration that was there, and what we just want to maybe give you a little bit of an insight on what we Sorry, I just had a phone call. Hang on a second. So I'm going to start. Val, hope that's okay with you. I'm going to start, and then I will hand it over to Val as well. We'll try and condense about probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes each, and give you as much information as we possibly can. And Val, you can kind of fill in the pieces as well. So just to give you a little bit of a snapshot of what we experienced in the actual conference. I've been to a UK conference before, but never a European conference. So just so those that don't know, a European conference is once every 4 years. So every 4 years, the whole of the European sector comes together for one conference. Other than that, every year, all of the European countries do their own kind of little ones that we do in Australia. So it was quite an amazing thing to be part of. For that once every 4 year type of conference. We went there with not much expectation, because obviously we've been to Australian and we've been to American conferences, which are extraordinary. But coming to Europe and seeing the vision, and you know, I think there was just over 8,000 people. And when you step into a stadium with 8,000 people, you know, like-minded people, it's phenomenal. So straight away, that energy that you get from just being there is electrifying. So we were totally blown away. The first day, Val and I were actually privileged to go to the NMD meeting. So we went to an NMD meeting, which was all of Europe's NMDs to PMDs, and you know, sitting in a room with 500 NMDs was again an experience in itself. It was quite an amazing thing to be part of. We had some just an incredible time with Jay Martin was over from America, and listening. One of the things that I probably would have walked away from this whole conference was vision. The Europeans know how to build massive vision into the future, and the NMD meeting really showcased that of what so Tamara, PMD is actually not 100 club. PMD goes on pay line. So actually PMD is what Val and I are at. So it was quite interesting. They don't actually have to be a club level. PMD is only on pay line volume. I think it's around over 160,000 pay line volume that goes to your business every month. So it's equivalent to actually a lot of us as NMDs that are actual NMDs. So PMD is where you're at. So it's totally achievable. One of the things we loved is just to see the big leaders stand up on stage and really showcase these PMDs were earning Paolo in Italy, he's on about 90. He's actually, one of his teamies actually spoke to me, one of the twins, and said in a month he brought in 13 million pay line in 1 month, which blew my mind. So the actual volumes that go through their business is next level. It's incredible. But what we saw was the heart of these leaders, and they did actually, in the NMD meeting, they gave awards to the NMDs and PMDs that have set up charities outside of Juice Plus. And that was really beautiful to actually see, was, these amazing leaders that now are impacting communities around the world. And that was, what Paolo said really struck a chord with me. And he said, it's not about the money, because at the end of the day, it's about the person. If you're a good person and you get to have a lot of money, you can do a lot of good in the world. And that was his message. He said, if you're a bad person or whatever, money just shifts you into that same person. It's just electrifying electrifies it even more. So it was so beautiful seeing good people with this kind of money and being able to then just be doing what they're doing. It was really inspiring. So yeah, at the NMD meeting, I will touch on this just a second, because I know a lot of you probably have seen the social media around this. Juice Plus Europe actually launched a new product, or pre-launched a new product, which was called Lift. And that was really, Val and I and Luce, we weren't expecting that. So we didn't have any idea that there was a new product even on the horizon. So that was really cool to be part of, to actually see the release of how they're going to do this. Don't worry, I've spoke to Celine, was over there, and she said it's probably something that's not going to come straight away, because it has to be TGA approved, but they are going to work on having this in Australia, which is exciting. And it's something really different, but it actually sets us above in our marketplace in the global wellness economy, what we're all about, which is all about our healthy lifestyle. So Lift will be a natural energy drink in the UK that will be promoted next year. So you will see some social media around that. But as I said, this won't be to us for a little while. Be rest assured though, I know someone's like, energy drinks, what is this all about? It is a beautifully put together product. So just have complete faith in the fact that Juice Plus have our back. No, it's not like the boosters. It's a completely different product than the boosters, and it's a beautiful product. To be honest, I just had one because we got the privilege to actually, I'm not sure if you did, Val, but I encourage you to do it with jet lag. I just had one just before, and I thought, let's see if this works. And for goodness sakes, it just gave me a buzz within minutes. So yeah, I'm a good product to the product for that one. Just to go on that as well, one of the things that they talked about, which I absolutely loved, was some new verbiage that they talked about as our business model. And I really love this, because they're really talking about what the future looks like for Juice Plus. One of the things that they came back to was entrepreneurship, and really looking at that verbiage in what we do. And one of the things that the leaders were talking about is calling ourselves an entrepreneurship factory. That's what we're all about. And there was some great verbiage around that. There is a business model that we're going to be moving to, and you'll hear probably more about this next year, and it's called a C2C model. They actually are defining who we are in the marketplace. Sometimes what we find is that we're saying, are we MLM? Are we network marketing? Are we this? Are we that? And Juice Plus wants to stand alone. We want to actually have our own little business model, because we're very different to, the actual traditional MLM. See, I can't talk, jet lag. MLM structures out there. And the C2C business model is consumer to consumer. And it's actually a unique hybrid, which I really, really loved. It was something a little bit different that they talked about. So we can talk a little bit more about that, but I absolutely love that entrepreneurship factory. That's something that we are, going to be using as some verbiage. Just quickly, because I know I'm going to be going for time. Let me have a look. Okay, 5 minutes. Oh my gosh. I haven't even got to half the things I wanted to say. Okay, the first day we had an incredible person called Stephen Bartlett, who basically he shared his entrepreneur journey with us. And his entrepreneur journey showed this guy that is literally one of the top social media people. I'm sure there's a special word for him, but he basically has gone from not being able to even buy a loaf of bread as a uni student, to then being one of the top followers, some people that people follow on social media. And his whole message was about never giving up. He said limits are like fears and are often just our illusion. And he gave this incredible analogy, and I absolutely loved it. And he actually did if you YouTube this, it's really cool. YouTube a circle around an ant. And he showed that this little clip, and it was a circle that was drawn around an ant. And in this, when you see it, this ant wouldn't go past the circle. And he said, actually, if you ever draw a circle around an ant, it will actually never go past the circle. And then he drew it a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller, and this ant was just kind of scurrying around this circle, and he wouldn't go past the circle. And it's such a cool thing to see. Yeah, Carl, if you seen it before, cool thing to see. And he said, it's like ourselves, you know, ourselves, we put a circle around ourselves, and that's our limitations that we think about ourselves all the time. You know, the circle that we put around ourselves is how successful you're going to be, how much money you're going to be, you know, and we always just fall short of where our potential is. So he really talked about, you know, that it's all about your perception. And he even said, he gave an analogy of him actually being, he's a runner, and he always felt, he always kind of tested himself. He could only run 6 kilometers a time when he was running. And one of the times that he went to the gym, the actual the thing was broken, and he just started running, and he just went to as long as he could. And he realized when it stopped that it actually went 9 kilometers, and he'd never done 9 kilometers before. But he said it only because he didn't put a belief around or see that in front of him, that, you know, he was just going to that limit. So what he said, basically, the way that you kind of go past that is stepping out of your comfort zone. The only way you're going to grow is stepping out of that circle. And so many of us just stay in the circle, but really our growth is actually stepping out of that. So it's really great. Some of the stuff he had was amazing. I'm going to just laugh on one thing that I absolutely loved. Look, there's so many. Bear Grylls was friggin' phenomenal. I actually said, if I just heard Bear Grylls, Barcelona was completely worth it. If you haven't watched the recording, because there is lots of recordings going around, just take the time and listen to Bear Grylls. It was all about resilience, and just his story. He's such a beautiful, humble guy, and we're so fortunate to have him part of our community. So if you haven't watched that, please go and watch, and Val might even probably pick out some things that he said. But I'm going to leave you on one last thing, and that was from Luke. Luke's I can't even remember his last name, but Skykes or something like that. So Lucas, he is, some of you might know Olivia Measures. She's one of the PMDs in UK, one of the top earners. It's her partner. Now, Lucas was an interesting guy because I've never really heard him before. He's in the German kind of part of things, but he closed conference, and he was phenomenal. He was one of the best probably speakers I've heard in our Juice Plus realm. And he gave some amazing analogies, and he just really taught from the heart. One of the things he showed, and I was going to put it up on my computer, but I haven't been able to get it up, but I might post this actually in our group. But if he did a photo of when the first year he started, and it was in 2014, and he showed a picture of him and some of his team on like this little jet ski kind of thing in the water, and that was his Christmas party, and there was 8 of his team that went to his Christmas party, and he put on like this kind of beach kind of thing, a few drinks, and he had a laugh, and he said, I actually couldn't make the Christmas party because I was working full time at that point in time, and I couldn't afford to take a day off. And so he put his Christmas party, his first ever Christmas party for his team, and he couldn't get there. And then he showed the following year, and the following year was like this little like dinghy kind of thing that he had. And it was like I think it was like 15 people in this like dinghy, and that was his Christmas party. And then he went to the next year, it doubled. And he showed the last 4 years of the same kind of photo with his team. And in 2018, just gone, the 2 boats, like these were massive yachts. I would say, I think he even said about 700-800 people were on there. And one particular yacht was just for families with children. And he put these side by side, and it was only 4 years. The first one, he couldn't even be there because he was working full time, to now the impact of 700 lives was such a visual. It was amazing. It was just amazing to see what that growth can do over time, and obviously just duplication. So that was amazing. The other analogy that he gave was like, he basically said our business is like driving a car on a foggy road. And I love that, because he said, when you get into a car and it's a foggy road, all you see is the next 100 meters. You don't know if there's a bump in the road. You don't know if it's going to be smooth sailing. You don't know if you're going to go, into some water. You can't see in front of 100 meters. And our business is the exact same thing. Don't overthink it. Don't try to even figure out what's next. Just do the next 100 meters. And he said, things like go to the next event, get those 5 customers, get that one franchisee, get that next promotion. Just look at that next 100 meters. You don't have to know. And, eventually you don't have to have the skills. You will actually figure this out as you go, as you see the next 100 meters. So I absolutely love that. I'm going to finish there because I think I've just gone over 15 minutes. And Val, over to you, where you can put in your little added bits.
That was awesome. What can I say? You've said all my one-liners now. No, it's all good. Honestly, guys, I completely agree like Abby. This was my first UK European conference, so I had no idea what to expect. Man, they dress well. These women and guys are in suits. These women that had been promoted as PMD, they were like in bridal gowns. It was crazy to see these women, what they wore. And I really, Abby kept saying to me, what's it like compared to USA and, Australia or different conferences? But when I really looked around, the word entrepreneur came up all the time. So there was all different shapes, sizes, ages. I couldn't believe it. And everyone was dressed for success. The thing that really got me, not only was it vision, but was connection. They had the words connection, feel the connection was on the stage. Everywhere you looked, 8,000 people, the word connection. And I sat there in that moment, and that's exactly what this business is about. It's a relationship business. It's a connection business. It's not a sign up and off you go kind of business. It's that close to close business. It's that consumer to consumer business, exactly what Abby was talking about. We get to build entrepreneurs all over the world. And, I really sat there in that moment and thinking, I know I've overcomplicated it thinking before, trying to build in different countries with the English barrier. But man, there are so many people that do Juice Plus. It blew my mind. So rich in relationships. I really love the Healthy Starts program, and we had Linda Everton on there and other mums. And one thing that really kind of kept coming through with me is that, this is close to my heart, is parents, adults purchasing the reason behind the Healthy Starts program. And I know that, but sometimes we can just say, and your kids can get it complimentary. You got a niece or nephew, but, parents are really attached to why they're purchasing it, the reason behind the program. And there is no other program anywhere around the globe that has this, and that was really amazing. Share the benefits and the results, what families want, which is really important. We get to give hope for families, and for me touring around the UK and Europe, the food bit was a little bit of a struggle for me, I'm going to be honest. And just knowing that I had Juice Plus in my system while I was traveling, I was so damn blessed. The next thing is talking about social media. Share on social media how you have transformed. You honestly have to be authentic in this field. If you're trying to be like other people, you're not going to get anywhere. You actually don't even have to be the best at it. You just have to be somewhat different. And exactly what Abby was saying about that guy, Stephen, when he was really trying to get out there and get seen, he did things different, like, when he was writing his resumes and wanting all of these things different seen, instead of using a white envelope, he used a gold envelope. And it made you realize that you had to be different. You had to have that signature. You had to have that X factor. Don't be the best. Be somewhat different. Talk about the challenges, and that's when people feel in that moment, if they can, I can. That's really important. The how part is easy. It's all about the reason, the emotional revenue, why you wake up every day, putting your entrepreneur pants on, putting your entrepreneur hat on. And one thing that Jeff Roberti was saying, we all know who Jeff Roberti is, let's think that when you first started, you know, kale was kind of that word we didn't hear about. You know, it is more than anything right now, it's a very high-based lifestyle around whole foods, around plants. So we are so foundational and world-class in the marketplace. Be proud of what you get to give and offer every single day. On social media, it's not about how good you are, it's about how good you want to be. Remember that. It's not about how good you are. You don't need to have that, you know, that counselor or that degree. It's about how good do you want to be, how good you want to show up in the world with this business. This was a really cool little stat. Social media is the key here. Every 2.3 second per minute, 2.3 new customers are generated per minute. 2.3. And honestly, everyone's on social media over there. Everyone's filming it. Everyone's just go, very full on. Abby mentioned about the entrepreneur business, the C2 business. What I really loved here, their ambition for 2025 is to be the leading global healthy living community by creating our unique direct selling e-commerce business. The vision they have for this company is unbelievable. Like, just how they are making a difference within the direct selling business. Like, guys, you've really got to stand loud and proud and know that you are a part of the most amazing company with the heart. Talking a little bit about Bear Grylls, this man, I think like Abby said, if that's all I got out of conference, it was amazing. He was fantastic. He really got up there and really taught, everyone's cheering him on, Bear Grylls, and, you know, showing all of his adrenaline stuff that he did. But he really brought it back to basics. It's everyone, ordinary people have struggles and battles every day. Life is just one big test. It's how we react to that testing determines everything. So if you're going to keep getting upset if you're going to get a no, if someone, you know, gives you a no, or, you know, you're going to go and hide, like, everything's a test every day. It's how you get up and move on from that. And like Abby said with that guy, Luke, look at the next 100 meters. Don't look at everything else. Gosh, I could keep going on, but one thing I really wanted to really bring through this whole conference was a few key points was connection. Building long-term relationships, really super important. It's not a quick fix. So building on your tribe, and everyone's had struggles, you know, like Abby said about that guy, Lucas, to see what he has created. And we came out of conference on the last day and all of his team were all together trying to get in a group photo, and it was actually amazing to witness. It was mind-blowing. And just to really sit in that heart space and, you know, listen to these charities that people have created. And I love the Beyond Blue panel. It was all about people that were had done marathons, triathlons. There was Emma Snetter in there, she did an Ironman contest. And it all came back down to never giving up. Everyone has a bad day. Everyone. Okay, it's just how you get up and deal with it. Having that resilience, having the courage to get on. And it, honestly, guys, it was just amazing to feel it. And, you know, when Abby kept saying to me at conference, she goes, how can you compare it to a USA or even an Australian conference? It's all about really thinking big. And I sat there in that moment, and I think each and every one of us, we've all played so small. And to see this conference on a larger scale, it was mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. They are so fast forward thinking. I'll give you an example. At the end of it, they announce when the next regional is, which is in March in Brighton. Within 2 days, they had sold over 1,000 tickets. It's like people just want the next injection. They want to take their teams there. They've already started creating how many people they're all bringing. And just to feel that was, I'm going to get FOMO. I want to fly over for that. And I think that was really exciting to see, like, how they just all move together. They all get in there and they create their vision, and they're like, I'm bringing 10 people, I'm bringing 20 people, let's do this together. They all move like a pack of wolves together, and that was unbelievable. Some of the stories that we heard at conference, that these women sat there, you know, as DD, which is DVF, and they just had enough of enough. And you know what, they tried to be other people, and they just got back to what they love most, and it was sharing the product and creating their own tribe and moving together. Now to see them on stage as PMD in 15 to 18 months was mind-blowing. And it really is. It's about putting that stake in the ground. It's making that decision that you're going to do it. It's about having resilience. It's about having courage. It's about showing up the best version of yourself every day. And, you know, last but not least, we listened to this couple, Irish. Of course, it had to be Seamus and his wife. And they were so honest and open and vulnerable. And they said their business really peaked, and they got caught up of the mission. They got caught up on not doing customer care. They got caught up on not loving on their customer, and their ego got in the way. So they brought it right back to why they started. They realized that when they signed that Juice Plus application, they had won the lottery. Why? Because they give people hope. They give people, you know, dreams and all of those different things. And when they got back to why they signed that lottery, their business just exploded. And that was beautiful to see that vulnerability on stage from a Seamus. Back over to you, Abs or Tam.
Wow, that was amazing. That was amazing. Abby, do you have anything else to add there now that Val's added some stuff?
No, not really. I think that was pretty much, I mean, there's so much to say. It's really hard to say it in half an hour, but I'll probably just leave the one last thing with what Jeff Roberti, who I always think is just, you know, he's always so inspiring, because it blows still my mind about how much this guy has, you know, been able to do in the Juice Plus business, especially financially. I think his stats were ridiculous. I think it was something like, I can't even remember, Val. I don't know if you remember some of his stats, but something, I think he's brought in close to $1 billion for the Juice Plus company over the since he started, which is crazy. But the one thing that I loved what his message was is fruit and veg is timeless. We have something that is completely timeless. So what our job is and our mission is to sell hope. And that's really what we get to do. We get to sell hope from people's health point of view, and we get to sell hope from a financial point of view. And that's really the heart place that he comes from. And he's always, reasons come first. Emotional reasons are the things that are going to drive you in this business. And it's really important that you get very, very clear of why you're doing this. He always says RPM, results focused, purpose driven, and massive action plan. So he brought a lot of energy at the end there, and yeah, he kind of wrapped a lot of things up in like Val says, a big red bow. But there was a lot of inspiration. I think the biggest thing is vision. There's a lot of vision. I mean, 2020, they're taking all their NMDs to PMDs that met criteria to Dubai. They're hiring out the Atlantis. So it got us to think, as Val said, bigger than probably what we do here, to see, you know, we all had little headphones to listen to everyone speak in different countries, and it was mind-blowing to see that, you know, this is global. This really showed a global business. So be confident knowing if you're building in Europe that they have your back over there. We were lucky enough as well just to finish to go and visit the head office in the UK, and that was absolutely brilliant. They are a great, fantastic group over in head office. So have confidence that they really can help your team out over in Europe. So yeah, that's it from me, but it was amazing.
Yeah, and I think just to quickly to add to that, I think that's what I really could wrap that up in a bow, to see the global communities, and everyone's got their little headphones. That was amazing. It, you know, we say it's global, but I felt it. I really, really felt it. And that was just unbelievable. And, you know, just a few little key points here. One has to remember where they come from. I mean, really think back to when you first started, you know, where was your health? Where was your financial situation? Where was your sense of a belonging, a community, the connection? One PMD on stage said, you know, put the ego aside. You don't get paid for your ego. You know, and it was all of those one-liners. And I think that's really what it was about. It was, you know, like I said, we know it's global, but to really feel it was a completely different feeling. And, you know, to have Mick and Celine there, and, you know, we could go down and talk to them, and they were totally open to Abbi and I and the team to giving feedback on what we thought they could bring into Melbourne. It was great to have head office there. It was really great, Tam.
Awesome stuff, guys. Well, you know what? Kudos to you guys for making the effort to get over there. You know, you guys made a massive sacrifice, both of your time, but, you know, time away from your families, kids, and so on. And this is only going to help catapult your businesses. And so just again, guys, on that note, Ignite, February 16, put in your diary now. Do not miss out on these amazing events. Get yourself locked in for Sacramento. Get yourself locked in for Melbourne next year, because it's these events that are going to grow your vision and grow your team. So guys, thanks so much for hopping on. It's been a marathon. What an amazing effort from you two girls. Go get yourself some sleep. Bit of melatonin will be good for you. Guys, have a huge week. What events are you tapping into this week? And I hope you're all working hard towards your 5-1 for November. See you soon, guys.